Hi. I have 1,000 questions. However, I was just speaking with two new friends here regarding my visits from birds. I'd like to know why these birds have come to me, particularly the owls.
Well, every time they come, they're coming more now because you're aware of them. And it's very exciting when you begin making the association. We've been talking a lot about getting into the receptive mode, but there are so many people who are not in the receptive mode who really want something more tangible in order to trigger their awareness of the relationship between non-physical and physical. And so the reason that birds make such really good messengers is because they're so plentiful. There are always birds around, and they are always in the receptive mode. So when Source, or someone that you know who has made their transition into non-physical, sends an intention to you that you can't receive, very often a bird nearby does receive it and carries the message, or just wants to get your attention.
That's what I feel.
Yes. And the reason the owls are coming is because you may be associating them with wisdom, or even with Solomon, as in the Sarah books, which are something that are part of this work. But the most important thing that we want you to hear is, don't wait for the bird to tweet something in your ear, because it's not coming to give you a literal translation of a message. It's coming to make you aware that there is a message in the air that it is receiving, that you could receive too if you were in the vibrational place of receiving. That's what it means. The message is here. That's what the bird is saying. The message is here, and I'm getting it, but I can't talk your language to you. I'm getting it, and I would like to demonstrate it to you. See me fly, see me be happy, see me independent, see me free, see me loving life. This is the message, but there's so much more to it for you to receive, but it's right nearby, and the fact that you can see me means you can receive the message if you pay just a little bit of attention.
Okay. Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
Because I've been working on my energy. Like Esther, you said, was in the van. And sometimes I get that feeling now where I feel I'm more balanced. So I'm just wondering, am I feeling more balanced?
You are.
Oh, thank God. Because I was worried I was not doing enough, or...
The fact that you're working on it makes us want to encourage you to relax a little bit in it.
Yeah.
But here's a good question that you could use to focus yourself into some interesting and satisfying conversations. Say to yourself, or say to your inner being, I believe I'm in the receiving mode and I'm listening. I believe I'm in the receiving mode and I'm listening. And then don't be demanding of it coming immediately. Just, I believe I'm in the receiving mode and I'm listening. Because you know, the first translation that any of you begin to translate once you're in the receiving mode is an emotional translation. In other words, it's that feeling. It's the feeling of alignment. It's the feeling of connection. The words are going to come later. The words are further down the manifesting trail. But the fact that you're in the receiving mode and you're feeling good, and you're feeling that satisfaction. So then just focus slightly, ever so slightly, because you don't want to get your thoughts in the way of anything, like why is it not coming, or why can't I hear? And just say softly, I'm in the receiving mode. I know I am. Can't feel this good and not be in the receiving mode. I know I'm in the receiving mode, so I'm just going to listen.
Things always work out for me.
And just let that be something that's on your mind all the time. You know when you're most in the receiving mode? When you're driving. When you're driving and not in concentrated traffic, but when you're driving, when the road feels open and you're sort of settled back in, and you know it's going to take so much time to get from one place to the other, and you just sort of settle in, there's not really anything else. That often is very conducive to being in the receiving mode. When you're in meditation, that is conducive to the receiving mode. Right after meditation, that's conducive to the receiving mode. When you first awaken in the morning, that is so much the receptive mode. When you first wake up, just lie there for a minute. Don't hit the ground running. Just lie there for a minute and bask and acknowledge that you are enjoying your bed, and allow yourself to rest in the receiving mode just a little bit and see what thoughts begin to come. And what's interesting is the thought may not be a mathematical equation that's going to solve world problems. In fact, we're pretty confident in telling you it's not going to be that. The thought may be, moving to a part of the house and you don't even know why. Just a rendezvous with the bird that's sitting there on the windowsill waiting for you. Or it might be deciding to eat something or call someone or any number of things. But whatever the thought is, when you feel pretty sure that you're in the receiving mode and you get an impulse, it's our powerful encouragement to you to follow through with that impulse, because that's the way you show yourself that you were in the receiving mode. That's the way you let yourself know that your guidance was giving you an idea about something for this reason and this reason and this reason. So these impulses can not just be a flash in the morning, they can just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. Are you ever at your desk and you have that feeling that you're thirsty, but you put it off for a minute because there's something else that you're right in the middle of? Get up and go wherever it is that you go to get your water and see what that message really was. Because your inner being is guiding you through the path of least resistance. And so often it will give you an impulse about something. Just getting up and stretching your body. You think it's just to stretch your body. Sometimes it gives you a better vantage point of what's around. Also, we could write 1,000 books in 1,000 days describing to you all of the details of what your inner being is guiding you to and through and over and around in order to help you find not that end result, but that happy trail always on your way to another end result. And do you notice how your nervousness has dissipated completely? It went completely away as you just listened and focused and really got in the receptive mode. And do you know that you heard every single thing that we've said here, that it all resonates? That's how you know you're in the receptive mode. There's a resonating feeling. It clicks with you. You know the value of it, you see. Yeah. And you don't need to be sitting here under interesting circumstances in a sort of spotlight in order to be in the receptive mode. You're in the receptive mode on a really regular basis. You just have to trust that you are and follow through with it to find out the results of what you were in the receptive mode about. How else you going to know? How else you going to come to trust? Oh, I had that feeling and that feeling led to this, and I had that feeling, this feeling led to this. Esther had an impulse to call someone at the office yesterday. And as she called, she could feel it's often present with this person, but a real openness, a softness, a receiving modeness. They were both feeling it. Esther was in the van at the beach when she received the impulse to call. And his opening words to her were, "You got time for a really cool story?" And Esther said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "There's a skunk on the property." Esther said, "I know, that skunk woke me up in the night. I didn't know smell could wake you up." And he said, "Well, the skunk was around, and now it isn't, but it was, and now it's not. But it's, having been there, lingers." So he said, "So I opened my doors, the back door and the front door of my office to the outside, and I was just sitting there, and a red cardinal hopped right into the office, hopped right in on the floor. And he said, I know it's my mom. I know it's mom. I know it's mom." He said, and then I lost it, meaning he felt the fullness of the love of his mother right there in that moment, right there in that moment. So we're giving this to you because we want you to notice the extra bird activity that is on its way to you. And we want you to notice that it is, as a result, every time of your receptive mode. Those messages come because you're in the receptive mode. And then the tendency is to go right out of the receptive mode because it reminds you of something that you have a practiced thought about that keeps you out of the receptive mode. Did you follow the sequence of what we were talking about? You're in the receptive mode frequently, and you get the idea. In fact, usually when you're in the receptive mode, a desire which has been revealing itself to you steadily is received by you or realized by you. Receptive mode, bam! Then almost immediately, the next thing you do is think about that desire and how it hasn't come about. And you take yourself right out of the receptive mode. In the same way that someone could get a message from a dearly departed loved one because they're in the receptive mode, and then because they remember that they're departed, then they leave the receptive mode. Did you follow the correlation and all of that? This receptive mode is something that we want you to notice when it happens, and we want you to notice that you can keep it going, because the momentum of the receptive mode is what you're all asking for. That momentum in the receptive receptive mode is that sweet spot that you're all asking for. And that's when you're riding high. That's when you're flying high. That's when ideas are coming. That's when people are attracted to you. That's what you came for. Nothing else will do. Nothing else will do for you. Nothing else is even close to what you intended when you decided to come forth into these physical bodies. You said, I'll sift and sort through contrast and I'll launch rockets. But you said that knowing that it would be very quick and that it wouldn't be something that would consume you. You never expected to be stuck in step one. You knew that step one would happen and it would launch rockets of desire and that source would take it from there and that this vortex would bubble up into something that you could, if you were in the right frame of mind, receive. So life really begins conscious creation. Oh, we've not said this before. You are asking for it. So there's creation, which just happens. People are creating by default all over the place because they don't know what they're doing. Conscious, deliberate creation begins with step 3, the receptive mode. Because step 1 doesn't have to be conscious, and step 2 is your source energy consciousness, but the receptive mode is your really first step, only important step. Getting into the receptive mode is all that matters in order for everything to then progress in the way that you've intended it. We are enjoying watching you all. We are enjoying watching the transformation of your awareness as you are moving forward from this place. We are enjoying the awareness that you're in the receptive mode and the self-appreciation. Self-appreciation is a good thing. It leads to all in all out worthiness. If you'll practice a little bit of self-appreciation here and here and here and here and here, before you know it, you will be expectant of good things coming to you. And as you move through traffic and people yield to you and people nod at you and people make way for you and people play with you, as you move through your day and people are kind to you and people are helpful to you and people are receptive of you and people are co-creating with you, your sense of right place, right time with the underpinning of absolute worthiness, that's who you are. That's the way you're supposed to live. Not defensively, not justifyingly, just absorbing the well-being that is flowing on your behalf to you all day, every day. This has been a good conversation because it's helping you to lower those barricades and let more of that well-being into your personal experience. It's such a nice thing when you decide to love yourself enough to let the love that's projected to you all day long reach you. But it doesn't matter how much source or anyone loves you. If you don't let it in, it's like it never happened. If the tree falls in the forest and there's no one there with ears to translate the vibration of it into sound, did it make a sound? No. You get into the receptive mode so that you can receive it, you see. Source can't love you enough to penetrate your wall of unlovability. In fact, the more you don't let it in, and the more source loves you, the more you don't let it in, and the more source loves you. It's time for you to sort of give up the justification and give up all those stories that somebody who was in a really disconnected place told you about how mad God will be at you if you don't accept his love. It's not like that at all, is it?
Nope.
Enough?
I'm happy.